All right, so in your edit.php page, we want to go ahead and be able to edit our users, or the clients rather. So let's go at the top, and we're going to start up our session. Very important. Session start. And we're going to do the same thing where we check to see if the user is not logged in and send them away because they shouldn't be there. And that looks like so. We've done that a couple times. And we're going to go ahead and get the ID sent by the get collection in our URL. So get ID sent by get collection. We're going to store it in a variable called client ID. And we're going to get the ID. So that's stored in that variable now so that we can use. And then what we want to do is connect to our database and include our functions file. And we've done that before. Connect the database, include the functions file, make sure you got those good to go. And now what we want to do is query our database with the client ID we passed in the get collection here. So we're going to create a query with that client ID, and that's going to look like this. Query equals select all from clients where ID is equal to client ID. So now we've pulled up the data in the query from our get collection. See how that worked there? And then we want to store that in a result as we usually do. Looks like so, MySQL query, connect query. And then we want to check to see if a result is returned. And that is the same syntax we've been always using. If result is returned, if statement, MySQL num rows, result is greater than 0. Now that means we have data and we can set some variables. So in here, we're simply just going to toss in a while loop. And we're going to pass in the row equals MySQL underscore fetch again, associative array, result. And now we can store some variables with the data from our database. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. And that's going to be, first one's going to be client name equals, let's say row, and then we're going to store name. And I'm going to do that for each of them. So email, phone address, company, and notes. So go ahead and do that. I'm just going to do it really quickly here. There we go. Email, phone address, company, and notes. We have them all here, all neat and tidy. There we go. And so now those are stored in some variables. And then we should have our else statement if there were no results returned. So we'll have else. And then we're just going to create an alert message that says there's nothing to see here. So it looks like this, alert message, div class alert warning, nothing to see here, and then a link back to clients.php. Head back. And that's just to say nothing was returned, so there's nothing to see. There's nothing for you to work with. So save that, and that is basically going to give us our, if the result was returned, and we have the variables. That's all we've done so far. Nothing crazy has happened. So now what we can do is scroll down, and we can access those variables in our form. And so instead of the value being John Doe, we can say PHP echo client name. And the same deal with all the other ones. So client email, client phone, and then the address will obviously be client address, client company, and then client notes inside the text area here. Save that. So now why don't we go back and see what happens? I'm going to refresh this page with the ID of 2. Brad, Breadcode College. There's nothing in phone address, company, notes because we haven't stored that for this entry. If we were to create a new entry and put actual information, so let's say Johnny Page, and there we go. We got Johnny Page, add the client. There he is with all the information. Let's edit him. There is Johnny's information because we pulled it in through the get parameter up here, the get collection, let us know the ID of the entry. Then we can query the database for that entry ID, and now we can pull his information in. So why don't we go ahead and create the ability in our PHP script up here to check to see if the update button was submitted, and then we can update our database. So scroll down after all of this PHP right before our header here. And now what we're going to do is check to see if the update button was pressed or submitted. And so that's an if statement is set update because that is the name of the update button. And let's just confirm just in case. Update right there. Okay. Now go back up. Try not to get lost in your PHP. We're going to set some variables using the data that was passed in the update form. And those are just the same as what we've always done. They're going to look something like this. Set some variables, client name, email, phone, address, company, and notes. And we're just going to basically overwrite those values there. Validate the form data. using the function we built, post client name, email, phone address, company notes. So it's going to store anything that is in those inputs in our variables, even if it is passing the exact same information from the database, so that they don't have to rewrite all the information every time they edit their client. Now what we need to do is create a new database query and result. And this one is going to be using a new syntax that we haven't used yet. Query, and this is going to be the update SQL. And I'm going to make this a little bit easier by separating it on different lines. So update clients, new line, I'm just going to tab here, set name, and in single strings here, client name. So this is just saying update the clients table, change name to whatever is in this variable, and then we're going to say comma, new line here, email equals client email. Probably start to see a pattern here. Phone equals client phone. Address equals client address. And then we have, it looks like I have an extra string there I need to delete. And then we have company equals client company. And then we have notes equals client notes. And then where ID is equal to client ID, which is what we passed in our get collection up here. So we were able to update that specific client and now store that in a result. Result equals MySQL underscore query, connect, pass in the query itself. And now we could check to see if there's a result. So meaning if this passes as true, if it works, then we can redirect the client to, or redirect the user to the client page with a query string. So header location clients.php question mark alert update success is what we're going to pass. Else, this means that they had an error updating the record. So we're going to echo just a little simple statement here that says echo error updating record and then concatenate the MySQL error so that they can see what happened. So why don't we update a client and see if this worked? So here we have Johnny Page. Let's change his name to Johnny Pages and let's say, yay, so much fun. Nice yard. Update. Here we go. Johnny Page. Looks like it didn't work. Probably because I didn't refresh. Silly Brad. Go back to edit. Yay. Nice yard. Let's just leave it at that. Update. Looks like it didn't update still. Now I wonder what's going on. Let's just go back. I'm going to save. Scroll down. And it looks like, there it is. Action clients.php. That's going to be, that's going to throw us the problem there. We're not submitting to the current form. So we can't actually submit the form to this page. It's not going through the isSet statement. So we're going to do the PHP echo special chars in here, server self. And now what we want to do is save and let's see what happens. Edit him and let's update. Yay, nice yard. Update. Okay. Looks like we have an error. Good thing we have this there. Syntax where ID is equal to, looks like an empty string there. Now I wonder why that is. And that is because I think we need to pass in our ID in the get collection. So right here, add a question mark right after the closing PHP script, ID equals PHP echo client ID. So we need to submit the form with the actual client ID in the action. So save. Now let's go back to my clients, edit Johnny Page. Yay, nice yard. Update. Okay, still getting an error here, but we have our ID up in the query string. Let's check for the right syntax where ID is equal to 3. It looks like we might have a double string. That might be the problem. ID is equal to client ID. And I think I see the problem here in our query. I have a comma after notes, and there shouldn't be because where notes is the last entry in that column, and where is a MySQL. So it actually would look something like this. So we don't have a comma there. That's going to throw us an error. So there we go, save. And now if we go back here and refresh our page and say nice yard again, and then update, there he is, Johnny Page, nice yard. But now we have the alert update success. Why don't we give ourselves an alert at the top here really easily? So go back to your code editor here, and we're going to go to our index up or clients.php, and right where we have our get the check for the query string, why don't we check to see if a client was updated? And so we're going to add an else if after new client added. Right here, we'll say else if, and then we're going to check the get collection alert for update success, which we just sent. And then we're going to change the alert message variable to simply say client updated, and it's going to be basically the same as the above one up here. So then this one will be the client updated. So save and now refresh. Client updated, looks good. A lot better of a user experience. Now, what if we want to delete that client? Let's go try and delete this one. What's going to happen? Nothing's going to happen. What we want to do is allow them to delete, but first give them a confirmation message to say, hey, you sure you want to do that? So we're going to do that up next.